Antony van Leeuwenhoek was a man who changed the way people understood the world around them. Born in the Netherlands, he is known as one of the most important scientists in history. His work made it possible for people to see things that were invisible to the naked eye. At a time when people had no idea about tiny creatures that lived in water, soil, and even the human body, Leeuwenhoek was the first to observe these life forms through a special tool he created himself. This tool, which was a type of microscope, allowed him to make discoveries that would change science forever. Leeuwenhoek's work was so important that even today, people remember him for what he did. In the 17th century, the idea of tiny living things was not known. People believed that only the things they could see with their eyes existed. The idea that tiny creatures lived in water, for example, was something that no one had ever imagined. Leeuwenhoek was not a trained scientist, but he had a great curiosity about the world. He worked as a cloth merchant, but in his free time, he started to study lenses. Lenses are pieces of glass that help us see things more clearly. Leeuwenhoek had always been interested in how things work, and he wanted to make better lenses than those available at the time. His curiosity and hard work paid off. He managed to make very powerful microscopes. Most microscopes at the time could only magnify things a little bit, but Leeuwenhoek's microscopes were able to magnify objects much more. In fact, his best microscope could magnify things up to 200 times. This allowed him to see details that no one had seen before. Leeuwenhoek was amazed by what he saw. He began looking at all kinds of things under his microscopes, from small pieces of cloth to drops of water. One of his first big discoveries was that there were tiny living creatures in a drop of water. He called them animalcules. He saw them moving around, swimming and living in the water. No one had ever seen anything like this before. Leeuwenhoek's discovery was important because it showed that life existed in places that people had never imagined. He soon realized that animalcules were everywhere, in water, in the air, and even in food. He saw them in the rain, in the sea, and in his own saliva. For the first time, people understood that there was more to life than just what could be seen with the naked eye. As Leeuwenhoek continued his work, he made more and more discoveries. He studied the blood of animals and even human beings. He saw that blood was made up of tiny cells, and he was one of the first to observe the different shapes and sizes of these cells. He also looked at muscles and fibers in plants and discovered that they were made up of tiny structures, which he called fibers. In fact, many of his discoveries were so advanced that scientists of his time had trouble believing him. They could not understand how he was able to see such tiny details, and they were skeptical about his work. But Leeuwenhoek did not let this stop him. He continued to make new discoveries and send letters to scientists in different countries, sharing his findings. Over time, Leeuwenhoek became known as the father of microbiology. His discoveries were groundbreaking, and they changed the way scientists looked at life. His work helped to shape the field of biology and laid the foundation for the study of microorganisms. Even though Leeuwenhoek never received formal training as a scientist, he became one of the most respected figures in the scientific community. His microscopes and observations were so detailed and accurate that they inspired generations of scientists to follow in his footsteps. But despite his fame, Leeuwenhoek never sought recognition. He was a humble man who simply wanted to understand the world around him. He did not publish books or hold public lectures. Instead, he sent detailed letters to the Royal Society of London, a group of scientists who were interested in his work. These letters, which described his discoveries, were shared with other scientists around the world. This was how people learned about his groundbreaking work. The Royal Society published his letters, and soon, Leeuwenhoek's discoveries became widely known. His work was celebrated, but he remained a private man, focused on his research. One of Leeuwenhoek's greatest qualities was his patience. He spent many hours studying and experimenting with his microscopes. He was not satisfied with just one discovery. Instead, he continued to explore new ideas and new ways to observe the world. His dedication to his work was extraordinary. For example, he spent years studying the structure of the human body, trying to understand how blood moved through veins and arteries. He also studied insects, plants, and even the food we eat, looking for patterns and hidden details. Each new discovery led him to ask more questions, and this curiosity pushed him to make even more important contributions to science. Even though Leeuwenhoek was not a professional scientist, his work had a lasting impact. He is remembered not just for his discoveries, but for the way he changed how people thought about the world. Before Leeuwenhoek, people had no idea that there were living creatures so small they could not be seen with the eye. His microscopes opened up a whole new world of exploration. Because of his work, scientists were able to begin studying diseases and health problems that had previously been unknown. Leeuwenhoek's discoveries laid the foundation for the study of germs and diseases, which would lead to breakthroughs in medicine in the centuries that followed. Although he passed away in 1723, Leeuwenhoek's legacy lives on today. Modern microscopes, which are even more powerful than the ones Leeuwenhoek made, allow scientists to see things that are even smaller and more detailed. But it was Leeuwenhoek's work that first made it possible to see this hidden world. Without him, many of the advances in medicine and biology might not have happened. Scientists today still study his observations and continue to build on his discoveries. Leeuwenhoek's life is a reminder that sometimes, it is the curiosity of one person that can change the course of history. He was not a famous scholar, but his passion for learning, and his dedication to his work, made him one of the most important figures in science. His story shows that anyone, no matter their background, can make a great contribution to the world. Leeuwenhoek's curiosity about the tiny, invisible world around him led to discoveries that shaped modern science. Today, his name is remembered as a symbol of the power of observation, patience, and the quest for knowledge.